All right, in today's lesson, we are talking about cattle. Okay, you're going to have cows. Someone's got to move those cows. That's cowboys. And they'll go to a place and they'll have a bunch of money and they'll be in the middle of nowhere and they'll want to spend that money in cow towns. And all of that, you might be wondering, why does that matter? Well, it bleeds into the culture that we would call Wild West culture. And then that runs its course into what we live out here in the West. Okay. So, and then we'll talk about the Sooners versus the Boomers, and that is in Oklahoma. So course objectives for today. What's the big deal about cows? It's a big business when you have this free grazing land connected to something new going through the middle of this land. Do you know what it is? The Transcontinental Railroad. You are now going to have this new ability to raise cattle, move them over to the railroad, and make a ton of money. This cattle drive and the people doing it, it leaves a cultural influence. Okay, why does the West, or why does Utah view firearms differently than New York? You can make an argument that a lot of the way we view the world, the outdoorsiness, the camping, the fishing, why are we different than city folk, something like that, it all ties in to that Wild West. And that Wild West, even if you weren't in the West, it gets into books and it gets into shows and it spreads throughout America. Okay, you go to another country, they don't have that Wild West instinct or vein that we have. And where does that come from? It comes from this time period. Okay, life on the plains is difficult. We'll talk about why. What's a Sooner? Okay, there's a land rush. If you wait for the gun, you're the Boomer. If you sneak out before the gun, you're a Sooner. Okay. Why will the cattle industry boom? I just told you a second ago. Bingo. The train. All right. Good job. Here's a fun slide. Oh, that looks like me tomorrow. Well, not being a cow, but making a hamburger. Anyway, cattle, they're called longhorns. They originally come from the Spanish ranches. Okay. When Mexico takes over, do you remember what year that was? What year does Mexico become a country? 1821. Very good. When they take over from Spain, the mission system, that's going to get shut down. They're going to have these ranches. Here's a cool picture of cows. Here's some more fun comics. Here's the cattle drive. I'm not going to make you memorize all these. Just notice you have different jobs. Look at the remuda. Okay, that's the leftover horses, or the horses that aren't, nobody's riding on them and they're gaining their strength back. So your cattle drive, you have to go about 1,000 miles. You're going from Texas to Kansas City. In the spring, there's nice tall grass and there's rain and everybody's eating and chilling. But there's also risk. You're crossing rivers. There's lightning, there's fire, and then, of course, cattle wrestlers. So notice the cattle drive. Here's, and rather than make you read this, you get to listen to it.
Chapter 3 of The Log of a Cowboy by Andy Adams. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. The Start. On the morning of April 1st, 1882, our Circle Dot herd started on its long tramp to the Blackfoot Agency in Montana. With 6 men on each side and the herd strung out for 3/4 of a mile, it could only be compared to some mythical serpent or Chinese dragon as it moved forward on its sinuous, snail-like course. 2 riders, known as pointmen, rode out and well back from the lead cattle, and by riding forward and closing in, as occasion required, directed the course of the herd. The main body of the herd trailed along behind the leaders like an army in loose marching order, guarded by outriders, known as swingmen, who rode well out from the advancing column, warding off range cattle and seeing that none of the herd wandered away or dropped out. There was no driving to do. The cattle moved on their own free will, as in ordinary travel. Flood seldom gave orders, but as a number of us had never worked on the trail before, at breakfast on the morning of our start, he gave in substance these general directions. Boys, the secret of trailing cattle is never let your herd know that they are under restraint. Let everything that is done be done voluntarily by the cattle. From the moment you let them off the bed ground in the morning until they are bedded at night, never let a cow take a step except in the direction of its destination. In this manner you can loaf away the day and cover from 15 to 20 miles. And the herd in the meantime will enjoy all the freedom of an open range. Of course, it's long, tiresome hours to the men, but the condition of the herd and saddle stock demands sacrifices on our part, if any have to be made. And I want to caution you younger boys about your horses. There is such a thing as having 10 horses in your string and at the same time being afoot. You are all well mounted, and on the condition of the remuda depends the success and safety of the herd. Accidents will happen to horses, but don't let it be your fault. Keep your saddle blankets dry and clean, for no better word can be spoken of a man that he is careful of his horses.
All right, welcome back. Here's another fun cartoon. Now I want you to take a second and look at this. What do you see on the left versus what do you see on the right? What do they have in common? What things are different? Take a second and look at that. Okay, this is cultural diffusion. This is what I want you to understand. Nothing more American than cowboys and apple pie. And where do cowboys come from? Mexico. Okay, so I'm just saying it. And where did Mexico learn? From Spain. Okay, the cowboy has its roots in the vaquero, and that's the Spanish cowboys. You know, it's kind of redundant to say it that way, but look at the hats, look at the ropes, look at the chaps, look at the boots. Okay, the Spanish were out here raising cattle, and then Americans learned it from the Spanish, and now cowboy is as American as apple pie. Does that make sense? But we didn't necessarily make any of that up, and you can see where we got that from. Okay? That's one of my favorites. That's funny. All right, so you are riding through the plains. You've got your cows. You bring them to the railroad station. You get your money, and now what do you want to do? You want a nice big meal. You want somewhere to stay. You want to hang out and spend your money. And this is where the Wild West, part of, you know, there's different branches, but this is one of the branches of the Wild West, okay? You're out there in the middle of nowhere, ready to spend some money. Dodge City, Wichita, Kansas, Abilene. Say that right? Abilene, Kansas. Okay. This is part now. So you've got this Wild West culture. How does it spread? Well, it spreads in these dime novels, and then it spreads through this Buffalo Bill Wild West show. You see the show, and you think that's how it is. And so now we get these motifs of what everybody's played cowboys and Indians, and very rarely are you actually being a real cowboy or dressing or, looking like a real Native American. You are reenacting this Wild West show. And so this disseminates into the culture. Here's a quick clip. Okay, welcome back. So there's problems anytime you have like a farming or a ranch sort of economy. You can always have problems. Cold, too dry, too cold. The the change in supply and demand, the change in the price, and then eventually people are going to come out there and they're going to own the land, and the grazing's not going to be free anymore. Okay, the Homestead Act. Look, I know we're going fast. Basically, here's what you've learned so far. You had this big thing of free land. There were cows on it. People moved the cows. It's only possible because of the Transcontinental Railroad, and they're making quick money. Now you've got these people that are cowboys with money. They're spending their money in these towns, and they're basically Wild West towns. There's no bureaucracy to control this town. It's just some random town in the middle of nowhere where cowboys and trains come, okay? This Wild West attitude still exists and spreads into American culture. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Homestead Act, you get the land for free if you can live on it for 5 years, but you still need money. If I give you free land, why do you still need money to be a farmer? Think about it for a second. Okay, very good. You need materials. You need the seeds. You need what is it? A wagon maybe, or a plow, or an ox. I don't know. I'm not a farmer. Okay, so you need a bunch of stuff. Only 1 in 3 lasts the 5 years. Okay? Why would you want to have farming out west, or what will promote farms spreading? Okay, remember farms started to spread across the Appalachian into Ohio, but now we're going to spread even further. What makes that possible? The Transcontinental Railroad, because you can get your produce to market. Excellent. Okay, so they're going to have a land rush. They're going to say, first people out there, first come, first serve. At noon, the gun goes off and you run out there and you stake your claim. And if you do that, you're a boomer, okay? But some people had snuck out the night before. In fact, some people had snuck out even earlier. They've already got a fence set up. They got crops growing. They've snuck out way before and they're called a Sooner, okay? I've always found it interesting. If you know about college football, Oklahoma's football team is not called the Boomers. It's called the Sooners. Okay, Oklahoma Sooners. Here's a quick video.
Most Oklahomans know about the land runs that help open up various parts of our state. These wild events can be and are viewed as wonderful adventures. Those settlers involve themselves in a race for what some might call their last chance at making it. This week marks the 121st anniversary of the largest Oklahoma land run. Following the Civil War, a somewhat rectangular chunk of land in approximately the center of present-day Oklahoma was vacant until a constant campaign to open those lands finally proved effective. David L. Payne was a one-man boomer campaign fighting for years to open up these now unoccupied lands for settlement. Although Payne didn't live to see it, the land was indeed eventually opened, and done so via the land run system. No other part of the world has ever been settled in this manner, and probably for good reason. Beginning weeks before the opening date, hopeful settlers gathered in border towns in Kansas, all massing to prepare themselves for the great run. Horses were trained and hardened up in order to make the run as fast as possible, while people stockpiled as many supplies as they could. On the celebrated day, Monday, April 22, 1889, the crowd of thousands now surrounded the border of the unassigned lands waiting for the alarm. Exactly 12 noon, cannons along the line boomed and the crowd surged forward as one. A mass of humanity riding horses, carriages, bicycles, even running and walking, swarmed into the area. Trains carrying hopefuls to town lots were allowed to move forward only as fast as a horse could travel, stopping in Guthrie, Edmond, and other town sites along the way. The hated Sooners quickly made their appearance, having illegally entered the land earlier than allowed, some soaping up their horses to make them appear foamy with sweat, and some getting shot for their illegal actions. As a method of settlement, the land run was spectacular to watch, but it proved to not be very practical at all, as large numbers of complications occurred during every step of the process. From participating in the actual run, finding land, and more importantly keeping it, to filing for claims afterwards, The process was full of fraud, hazards, and entanglements. The chaotic nature of the event, however, apparently didn't faze officials, as 4 other land runs took place over the next 10 years. The first Oklahoma land run was 121 years ago this week in 1889.
The Oklahoma land rush of 1889. 50,000 boomers waiting at the starting line. Crack of a whip, the whinny of a steed. It's high noon in the Oklahoma heat. Now if your horse is barely moving, better get yourself a push. Oklahoma Sooners are out hiding in the bush. Snuck out early, cross the Oklahoma plain. Sooner they get there, sooner they take a claim. 5 go the Cubs and the cannon. 50,000 boomers go racing across the land. First come, first serve. Off you go to state your claim. Settling in the West the quickest way we can. Removal of the Indians, a big part of the plan. Farming improvement, added value to the land. Added to our manifest destiny demand. 5 go the Cubs and the cannon. 50,000 boomers go racing across the land. First come, first serve. Off you go to stake your claim. President Harrison signed off on this deed. 2 million acres given it all away. 5 go the Cubs. 5 go the
I hope you had a great day. We'll see you back here soon. Take care.